Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Today is going to be a pretty short video. If you've watched some of my other videos, this one's probably going to be much shorter than those. This is a pretty cut and dry video. Very short, but a very powerful video. It gives a lot of information in a little bit of time. For those of you that have not been here before, my name is Ashley Gillis. I'm a licensed clinical social worker, currently practicing in the state of Utah. I currently do individual therapy with a variety of populations and ages, couples, families, individuals. And then this is kind of my private practice that I do on the side. I create these videos purely for education. These are not meant to replace therapy. I know there's a lot of barriers in the field of therapy, so I wanted to create a space where people could come in and get some information and possibly even take this to their individual therapy or simply just to have the information. So please do not mistake this for individual therapy. All of my videos are for education only. If you find something in one of these videos that kind of sticks with you and you'd like some more information on, I have my contact information at the end of this, and I do take individual appointments virtually through my private practice as well if something kind of jumps out at you. So today we are going to do the Gottman Sound House. This is a house that essentially shows how to have a really super solid relationship. Okay, so the Gottman Sound House. We're going to dive right in. What is it? It is a model that looks like a literal house. You can type in Gottman Sound House on Google, and the same house is going to show up. It might just be depicted a little bit differently. I am not personally going to use the actual Gottman Sound House because I do not have the legal rights to use that in this kind of a setting. So I have depicted the same information, but if you type in Gottman Sound House, it's going to be very different from what you see on here. And all it is, it's a model created by Doctors Julie and John Gottman that show how to have a very strong relationship. Like I've already said, it's taught by way of a house. It is predominantly used in marriages and intimate relationships. But what I have seen as a therapist is this can also apply to the individual. So I will also sometimes use this with individuals who are struggling with having a relationship with themselves. But I will argue that it's probably used 99 to 100% of time with marriage and family therapy a lot, because that's kind of how it was depicted to be. But I'm going to kind of use both in here. So what this is we're going to jump right into the house. The first thing you have to have, and the first thing you will see if you type in Gottman Sound House, is these walls that say trust and commitment. Okay, so the walls, if you don't have the walls, you can't have anything else. You cannot go inside. You can see here, we haven't gone inside the house yet. If you look up a picture of the Gottman Sound House, it's going to have trust and commitment on the walls, and then it's going to have all the levels inside so you can see all of it in kind of one sitting. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to kind of break it down a little bit. So what I always start with is the walls, because what I find as a therapist is people are struggling with the inside of the house because they don't have the trust and commitment, whether it's with themselves or whether it's in a relationship. Trust and commitment, it's pretty cut and dry with what trust and commitment is. I'm going to break it down a little bit further, but just kind of get that depiction in your mind that of your house, the walls have to come first. So the walls are trust and commitment. Without the walls, you cannot go inside the house. When we get inside the house, you're going to see some of the parts of the house that people will actually get into relationships and immediately start to try. They immediately try to start doing that thing, and it doesn't work because you can't do it without the walls. Okay, so just get that little picture in your mind of the walls, and then trust and commitment. What is it? What breaks it? Okay, like I said, it's pretty cut and dry. Trust and commitment. Your trust is essentially the belief in like your partner's reliability, right? I trust what you say, like I believe you. Same with yourself. That's saying I trust you, I believe you, okay, within yourself. Your commitment is the decision to stay in that relationship despite the challenges. Commitment to yourself is deciding that even when something doesn't necessarily go right, I'm still committed to my own personal goals, right? It says, I choose to stay with you amidst the challenges. Again, whether that's individually or in a relationship. So what are some things that can break that trust? Lying, cheating, boundary crossing, right? That can all happen in a relationship. Individually, when people don't complete their goals, that can really break the trust, right? If I say, I'm going to make my bed 5 days this week and I only make it 3, well, I didn't complete my goal. And now my brain learns that I can't trust myself, which if you've watched my video on negative core beliefs, there's a negative core belief. So hopefully you can start to see, if you've watched my other videos, how some of this stuff continually formulates. Okay. Commitment. How do you lose commitment? Loss of interest, unresolved relationship issues, distance, core beliefs that are not dismantled. I just mentioned that. If you have not seen my video on negative core beliefs, please do. I believe it's number 10, labeled number 10. Please go watch that. Like I said, there's going to be some parts of this that don't 100% make sense. Okay, so trust and commitment. If you do not have that, if you are in a marriage right now and you see some of these things, I am here to tell you, you do not have a relationship. You have a situationship. Okay, some people do not like when I tell them that. I do not say it to be mean. I say it out of all the love and kindness of my heart, but you do not have a relationship. If you do not have the walls of trust and commitment, you cannot go inside of the house. So again, if this breaks out at you or screams at you and you want some more information on how to build this trust and commitment, by all means, I can help you with that. Okay, we can book a session with that, because I know trust and commitment is a big thing, and sometimes people don't realize that it's not there until they see something like this. Okay, so trust and commitment. Take a look at yourself. Take a look at your relationship. Is there trust and commitment? Why or why not? Okay, what's going good? What could be worked on? Okay, now we're going to go inside of the house. Okay, so before we start breaking the levels down, I like to depict this like a staircase. So you start at the first stair and then go to the second, third, fourth, so on and so forth. So inside of the house, once you've established your trust and commitment, now you can start going in and climbing up these stairs. Okay, every stair represents a different part to get to that very top level. We're going to break each one of these down, and they're actually a lot simpler than what you think. I know there's 7 steps here, but they all say, they all mean exactly what they say. Okay, so we're going to break them down. Very first one, well, we're going to do the first 3 and then the last 4 on the next slide. So the first 3 is build love maps, share fondness and admiration, turn towards instead of away. They are exactly what they say. So that first one, build love maps, that word maps is the key word in this one. And it is essentially like your first floor or stair in your house. It represents the building of what's called a love map. Okay. And it's essentially a guide or a map to your partner, and represents how you never really stop getting to know your partner, right? Like you can create a map of their life because you never stopped getting to know them, right? You can be with someone for 20 years and you can tell another person, an outsider, about their childhood, their parents, their siblings, their junior high years, their high school years, their previous relationships, on and on and on, because you built this map and you can literally lay it out for somebody. So you never stop getting to know your partner. Individually, it's the same thing. You never stop getting to know yourself. It is a map of your life. Okay, so that's your very first step. That's what you have to do. When couples are first getting into relationships and they've built trust and commitment, I always challenge them to not stop dating. And there is actually packets of love maps that you can fill out with your partner, whether you've been together for a month, whether you've been together for 20 years. There is so many worksheets and packets out there to help you build the love map and maybe get questions that you've never asked your spouse, or get clarity to questions that maybe you hadn't asked before, you had asked in a roundabout way. So that's your first level. Then we go up to level number 2, share fondness and admiration. It's exactly what it says. It is simply just admiring your partner. So this can be as simple as words of affirmation, right? Telling your partner, I love that little quirky thing that you do. Or I love the way that you care about people so much. Like whatever it is, you're just admiring your partner. It's that simple. Okay. Third step, turn towards instead of away. Again, it's the same thing. It's when there is conflict or you need comfort or attention, you're able to turn towards your partner instead of away. So for example, if you are having a hard time and you're seeking comfort, you're going to elicit a response to your partner to let them know I need comfort, right? That could be getting a little bit closer to them on the couch. That could be, giving them a hug, which essentially, hopefully, if you're in a healthy relationship, will elicit the partner to then do the same thing, right? If you've been in a relationship and you've ever needed comfort and you've kind of, quote unquote, come on to your partner and they kind of turn away and they're like, no, I'm too tired. I don't want this, blah, blah, blah. It can cause a lot of problems, right? Because now you don't admire them anymore. You feel like you don't want to get to know them anymore. Like it can cause a lot of problems. It can start a core belief system or fuel a core belief system that we simply just don't need. People that are turning away instead of towards, there's a deeper problem there. Watch videos 1 through 13. There is a deeper problem there. If you are in a relationship and they do not turn towards you during those times, there's a problem. I will argue it's usually a core belief system problem that is happening. Okay, so those are your first 3 levels, individually and in a relationship. Okay, you've got to get to know your partner, get to know yourself. You've got to admire your partner and yourself, and you have to turn towards instead of away, right? The turning towards instead of away on an individual level would be like self-soothing skills when something goes awry or a challenge occurs. So those are your first 3 levels. Now we're going to go to the last 4 levels. Okay, your last 4. Positive perspective is number 4. It's exactly what it says. And this is, if you haven't watched my video on thinking errors and evidence, I believe it's video number 2 and 3 in my section 1 through 13 that talks about thoughts, thinking errors, and using the evidence. That's really, really comes in on this, on number 4. Your positive perspective is simply just your thought process within the relationship. It's kind of all in how you see it, right? So if a challenge comes your way, if you're going to be thinking in errors like catastrophizing, we have a problem. There is no positive perspective anymore. Okay, this is your outlook on the relationship, on yourself, on challenges. That's all that means. Okay, number 5, managing conflict. This is where I see, as a therapist, people get into relationships and automatically want to jump to number 5, and it does not work. I'm here to tell you, I've seen it so many times. They get in a relationship, they immediately want to manage conflict, and I'm like, y'all don't even have trust and commitment. How are you going to manage conflict? This is the number 1 place I see people jump to. Okay, it is the 5th stair in the house, number 5. Okay, that's a big jump to go to if you're just getting in a relationship. So 5th stair, and it's exactly what it says. It's when you manage conflict. The biggest thing with this is problem solving. Okay, so I will use the parent adult child model. Again, go back and watch my videos. That's also in the videos labeled number 1 through 13. It's pretty early on. It has to do with behaviors and how do I solve the problem? How do I have the proper behavior to solve this problem? That is what I really teach people who struggle with that managing conflict on step number 5. I also use a variety of other skills from the videos labeled number 1 through 13, thoughts, emotions, behaviors, some DBT skills, but we really, really help manage the conflict with the parent adult child model. Okay, number 6, make dreams come true. It's exactly what it says, but this is where in your relationship, you have kind of this shared want to do this. So a partner wants to take a job. A partner wants to go back to school. You guys want to pay off debt. You guys want to raise your kids a certain way. It's where you make your dreams come true. It's exactly what it says. Okay. And then your last step, that very last step of the house, it's like healthy relationship is create a shared meaning. So this is essentially when a couple or yourself has completed all of the levels and they know how to continually bounce through the levels, right? Because just because you make it to number 7 doesn't mean you're going to have to go back to number 5 or number 4 or 2 or 1. It is a constant flow. You just want to make sure you have such a deep understanding of your partner and yourself that when step number 3 comes up, you can do it healthily. When a challenge comes up, you've got the skills to manage conflict in a healthy way. So number 7 is essentially when you have such a deep understanding, it doesn't really matter what comes your way. Every single one of these steps is going to be done in a healthy way. Okay, so that is the levels of the house. That is all it is. If you do not have trust and commitment, you cannot go inside of the house. I cannot stress that enough. If you have trust and commitment and you go inside the house and you're like, oh my gosh, I can see like 3 or 4 levels that are not working, by all means, contact me. We can help you work through that. But like I said, it is a pretty cut and dry video. That is it. That is the Gottman Sound House. If you're going to go to like marriage and family therapy, or if you're going to come see me as a couple, we go a lot more in depth with this, right? There's different worksheets and packets for every single part of this. But again, what I have found is if your core belief system is not dismantled, you're going to have a problem in any video I post or any modality a therapist will give you. Okay, so again, core beliefs is video number 10. Review that if you have not, so it makes a little bit more sense. But if you want more, please contact me. I am willing and able to point you in the right direction of where to get some more information on this. You can book a session with me on my website. You can find me and follow me on Instagram. That's a huge help, as always. My YouTube, UTLCSW, for my videos. If you know anybody that could benefit from these, please let me know. Please let them know. Let's get this information out there. Let's share it. And as always, thank you so much for joining me. You have no idea from the bottom of my soul how much it means anytime somebody views my videos. If you've watched my videos, or you that know me know this is my absolute dream, is to get this information out there and teach some larger groups of people this kind of information, this therapy information, for a lot cheaper and in a much simpler way. So every view helps me that much more. Every share, every subscribe, everything helps me tremendously. Truly, thank you. And I will see you guys next time.